No mai haere mai, welcome to 3 News. The official part of the public debate on the contentious Treaty Principles Bill kicked off at Parliament today. The bill's author, David Seymour, was the first to speak and promised he had an open mind to learn from other submitters. Senior political correspondent Jenna Lynch has more.
With a suitcase full of her book, Understanding Te Tiriti, Roy Matasmail arrived at Parliament today to hand-deliver a copy for every MP.
We can't assume that MPs know about Te Tiriti because they're people just like us. And if I reflect on my own upbringing, I didn't learn anything when I was at school, unfortunately. And so they really need this knowledge.
Just in time for those considering submissions on David Seymour's Treaty Principles Bill. The bill's author, the first to take the hot seat, making his case for why the bill was required.
Dividing people into racial groups is the definition of racism.
And for 9 hours, the Select Committee heard from those who agree with him.
My rights in this place to address Mr Ferris's question earlier don't depend on a document signed in 1840. And frankly, the suggestion that they do is wrong. Thank you.
The sovereignty of Parliament is under challenge in the courts and from members of the legal profession. One of their weapons is the undefined principles of the treaty.
An articulation of white guilt on one side and victimhood on the other side. These do not help our people.
And those who don't, from former treaty negotiations ministers.
To deny the ability to uphold the terms of the treaty would itself be an act of inequality, and it would make treaty rights secondary or inferior to any other legal rights, and would therefore make Māori unequal before the law.
Parliament can legislate to provide that the earth is flat and so on. It doesn't make it flat, but this is an issue where it is arguably beyond the competence of Parliament to start interfering with the treaty which was signed between the Crown and Maori in 1840.
To a former gang member.
Tangata Tiriti Aotearoa not only implore you to kill this bill, but to do your individual best to dissipate the fog of disinformation that it has manifest.
To Māori leaders.
An attempt by this coalition government to rewrite Te Tiriti in favour of itself in order to retain power and control.
The conflation in this bill of equality before the law and Te Tiriti o Waitangi is just a shameful race-based dog whistle to the uninformed and bigoted in this land to create populist political support. That's it. That's all that's going on here.
Submitters were given 10-minute slots, leaving little time for questions from the committee.
It is unusual that we're hearing submissions on a bill that is not proceeding any further, according to this government. Some might say it makes a mockery or a circus of this institution.
Thank you very much.
David Seymour did not stay for submissions, but said he would try and tune in to the live stream. Is your mind open to be changed during the Select Committee process?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a, 185-year debate and counting.
One of the things that's been most disappointing about the so-called debate or national discussion around these issues is that people don't appear to listen to each other, and David is guilty of that more than most.
Seymour says while the bill may not pass, the concept has a future.
This bill, some will say, may not pass this time. We shall see. But I can tell you that you are part of something important and inevitable.
Submissions will continue later in the week.
Jenna joins us now live from Parliament. Jenna, what was the tenor of the debate today?
Yeah, there was probably perhaps a little bit of apprehension heading in today about how things might go, given some of the rhetoric that has been heard around the Treaty Principles Bills, given some of the protests that we have seen around this bill. There was a couple of extra security guards monitored outside the Select Committee, but it did definitely go off without a hitch. While there was some passionate submissions from people, it was a largely procedural day in which it went off like any other Select Committee here at Parliament. Most of the submissions heard today were from those opposed to the Treaty Principles Bill, but this really is just the beginning. The Justice Select Committee needs to hear hundreds and hundreds more oral submissions. They will resume that on Thursday.